Good afternoon. Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon. Hello, hello, hello. Lakshita, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Sounds great. How was your trip?
it's good.
Okay. So, how are you connecting from a computer or are you connecting from your laptop?
Connecting from a laptop.
Okay. All right. So we have 5 more minutes. And then I'm just gonna put a Jamboard so I can see your work. You can scribble on the Jamboard. So this will go as Simon and August first lesson. All right. Insert line, cancel. I just need to make sure student get a copy of that file. And then going back to topic, class practice. All right. So last class, you were you attending online?
No. Well, yeah, I did.
Yes.
Yeah. I think I also need the grade 11 meeting like ID and password too.
Sorry?
I think I also need the like grade 11 meeting ID and
Okay, I will give
password.
that. I will give that. Okay.
Okay.
Um, Give me a moment. Just waiting for the other folks to come in. There's one more person to come in. And the file is completed. Box should key down the side. One lava nala kitna mani varla. Sharing. Okay. Text me. Text me. All right. So where did you go in Sri Lanka? You need to get the passcode for the grade 11 functions, right? Hold on. What did you want? You want the grade 11 function Google Classroom?
No, the grade 11 like Zoom meeting ID
Oh,
and
it's the
password.
same Zoom link. Same Zoom link.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't use a different one. All right. So where did you go in Sri Lanka?
I went to my grandpa's house in Venni.
Where?
Um, and I'm gonna go to Colombo in a few days, I think.
Oh, so you're gonna come back? Or you
Yeah.
just gonna go for Colombo and then go back to Jaffna again?
I think I'm gonna go to Colombo last.
Okay. How's the weather?
Pardon?
How's the weather? Really cool, really hot?
Really hot.
All right, so I have one more student to come in. Do you have a chance to do the greatest common factor lesson as your homework?
Yeah.
This is you have done it. Okay, so the only thing is that if I want to see the work, you might need to upload them in a Google Classroom. So you will be able to upload that. I used to post that. For example, this is all this in NCR3. Let's go back to NPM3. So you can see it's a July 25th lesson. And nope, July 18 lesson. That is where we started. You can upload that homework, that in there, and just waiting for one kid to show up, and we're gonna get started. Well, it's 2:59, so it's still half minutes. Any specific question you find a difficulty on this? Greatest common factor.
Not really. It's pretty straightforward.
Okay. Well, unless I see your work. So there's no questions on that, how to do that. Okay. I'm just gonna wait for him, and then we're gonna get started. This is something that you already see on a grade 11 class, but unfortunately that I have to teach that again in a grade 12 or grade 10 class. I think we are kind of ahead of the curve on the grade 11 class. We talk about how to factor trinomial. So I'm gonna going back to the logic today, and then we're gonna go back to how to factor complex, which we have in CN, and then going to go back to perfect squares. So that's all about factoring for today. So let's see. Just gonna wait for him to come in. Okay, so if you have a camera or something, you can take a picture of this work. Can you upload that on the Google Classroom?
Okay.
Lesson
Do I upload it now or after class?
Yes, uploaded that one. So I want to see how to do that, the steps.
Okay.
Okay, just gonna call him to see where this guy is. Hello, is he's on the way? Okay, perfect. So I just text you that we're living close by and very close to the branch. So I just gonna be asking my wife if it's possible tomorrow we can go. I'm not sure what time is the branch will open, so we should be able to get it done. Yeah, she work from home. Okay, perfect. I will text you. I just sent her a message, so I will text you that the availability tomorrow. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Okay, I will message you before the end of the class what time that we can come in tomorrow. Okay. Sure. Okay, sounds great. That's perfect. Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you. I'll see you. No problem. Yeah. Just waiting for him. He's almost here. So when he comes in, we can get started. Did you upload the work?
Just trying to find where my notebook is in the luggage.
Okay. Did you do that before you leave?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. How are you? All right. So we're about to start. So one of the students, she went to Sri Lanka, so she's joining. So you're the only one today in person. The other one, he has a track and field, so I'm recording it. So he'll be back. All right. All right, so we're gonna get started. So last class that we were working on the greatest common factor. So I gave a homework on. I'm only taking that homework. The other one we will deal with that later. The algebra. So is there any question you find difficult?
P on the
Lesson 3?
lesson 3.
Okay, you find P is, okay, so you're not getting the same answer as what they have provided? Did you cross
I
check?
didn't know how to.
Okay. So we're gonna going back to, what's the first step in common factoring? What do we need to do?
Find the common factor.
Greatest common factor, if you have numbers, okay. So first we're gonna looking at the numbers and then we can see we got 3, minus 3, 6 and 9. So what is the greatest common factor for 3 and 6 and 9? Let's ask Lakshita. What is the greatest common factor for 3 and 6 and 9? Lakshita?
3,
But
3.
we're not, yes, that's right. But we're not gonna take 3 because we don't really like the first terms to be negative. So what I will do, I will take -3 as a common factor. Then we're looking at the variable, isn't it? So how are we looking at the variable? We are looking at the first variable x. So you can see we got the variable x here. We got the x here, isn't it? So when we got the variable, we always take the lowest exponent of that variable, which is x to the power of 1. So we will take x as a common factor. Now we find out y is sitting also everywhere, but the lowest exponent y is 1, isn't it? So we took that out. So then we need to write the term inside. So if I multiply this guy by this, how do I get the other term? Well, we know -3 is already taken. X is taken, y is taken, so it's going to be just x and y, isn't it? And then because of -3, it's going to be -2, x and y is taken. And now, because of -3, it's going to be -3. X cubed y cubed is going to be x squared y squared. Have you seen that? All right. Lakshita, do you have any specific question that you don't know how to answer it? Otherwise, we're moving back to, okay. All right, so then we're gonna moving back to today's topic. So before I move on, did you do the x? X.
Oh, yeah. Those I did like S, but like T, like I don't know how you really work that out.
T?
Like for like is that T?
T,
Like,
yes.
Yeah, I don't like those questions were kind of confusing.
Okay.
I didn't know how to
All right, so we're gonna going back to the T. The way to look at for it, this is 8 times x plus y, isn't it? And do you see that x plus y is also sitting there, b times x plus y? So because it's 8 times x plus y, the x plus y is a factor, right? So what we do, we're gonna take the whole x plus y as a common factor. Then we take that out, it's gonna be a minus b. I'm not sure who's popping up at this point. So there should be other students in Sri Lanka, so let's begin. Okay, so let me talk to her in a minute. Hi, Anaha, how are you? I really need to talk to you. Anaha? Hi,
Hi.
how are you? I know that you asked your dad to move this class to Sri Lankan time 8 o'clock. Is that right? Sri Lankan time 8 o'clock. So these classes are on Thursday. So what is Sri Lankan time 8 o'clock? I try to see Sri Lankan time 8 o'clock. So Sri Lankan time 8 o'clock mean 3 hours, no, so 12:38. So 4 hours before. So for us is 4 hours before 11 o'clock. Yes, right now for us it's 3 o'clock, so do 11 o'clock, so 11 to 1. I don't mind to keep the class. What do? Do you have anything on the time on Thursday?
I don't think so.
So you're free on that time?
I should be.
Yes, and then how about Lakshita? Sri Lankan time, 8 o'clock. Do you think you'll be at home? Hello? Lakshita?
Yeah, I think so.
For Thursday class?
Hello?
Sorry?
Like 8 a.m.?
No, 8 p.m., 8 p.m.
Yeah, I think I would.
Okay, so we have 3 more classes. So what we will do, we will keep the next Wednesday class moving forward at 11 o'clock. If I'm free, I don't do anything in the morning. I am not teaching it. So we will keep 11 o'clock, only this class. So I'll keep that as a reminder. All right. Anaha, did you do the homework question? Okay, no sound. So let's going back to the x. I'm not sure whether you have done the x, but the x is a little tricky. So how we're going to do the x? It's the same idea. We see x minus 2 sitting in both places, isn't it? Now the challenge here, if I took x minus 2, obviously I know a should go here. The question is what should go here? That's simply 1. Because if x minus 2 is taken out, and then you have x minus 2, then if you divide x minus 2 by x minus 2, second. Hello? Yeah. Okay. Just give me a moment. All right, so going back to business. So what we're gonna going back to right now is we're gonna going back to a little fun fact find. So we have seen fact find. So here's what I'm gonna do. Let's going back to simple example here. So I'm gonna be right x plus 3 times x plus 2. We know how to expand this, isn't it? Did we learn that? We knew how to expand it. So what do? We times x by x, isn't it? X squared. X times 2x, we got 2x. 3 times x, 3x. 3 times 2, 6. Then we collect the likely term. We say this is what it is, isn't it? We learned that. That's what the algebra is about in the beginning. The question here is, how do I go from here to here? Because this is an expression, you can see this is in a product form, isn't it? So we're going back to that step. So the question here is, to go to that step, we have an intermediate step. Do you guys see the intermediate step? Because we need to go from here to here, we need to go from here to here, and then we will show how to go from here to here. So what I'm going to show you right now, this is the step 1, this is the step 2. Let me show you how to go from step 2 to the final answer. So we're going to see how to go from. So this is called factoring by regrouping. So what do we do is, we have 4 terms, isn't it? So we're going to take the first 2 terms and the last 2 terms. Let's separate that. Okay. If I take the first 2 terms, this is going to be x into x plus 2, isn't it? Common factor. Now what I'm going to do, for the last 2 terms, I'm going to take 3 as a common factor. What we're going to do? X plus 2. All right. Now we're just looking at it. So x into x plus 2 plus 3 times x plus 2. Now it's the same question as what we have seen before. Do we have x plus 2 in both places? Yes, we just see that, isn't it? So what do? We take that x plus 2 as a common factor. Then this is x left here, x plus 3 left. So what I'm showing right now, if I come to this step, we just learned the new step here. Then from here to here, we know by taking the common factor, we know how to go. The question is how to go to this step. What's the connection? That's what we're going to see. So let's going back to what the connection is. You guys see a constant term 6? It's a constant term. What we want to do is, we want to break the middle term 5x such a way that when I multiply the breakdown, I will get 6. So let's going back to the 6. What are the possible ways I can factor 6? So factor 6 in using 2 terms. Can I write 1 times 6? Yes. Can I write 2 times 3? All right. Is there anything else I can do with the 6? Let's go back to my online folks. Anna, do you think I can rewrite 6 in a different way?
No.
Now, if I add 2 plus 3, what would I get?
2 plus 2.
Yes. Is that 5 is sitting in the middle? That's the game. So what we're doing is, we're going to take the last constant term, break into 2 numbers, right? And when we combine that, I should get the middle term. That's it. That's the term we can simply factor. So I used to give a little practice. So here's a little task. I want a product to be 24, sum to be 10. So you guys can tell me two numbers such that the product is 24, sum is 10. So let's going back to Aaron first, and then I will go back to my online folks.
We want the.
So I want the product to be 24, sum to be 10. So I need A times B to be 24, and A plus B must be 10. And you think about two numbers that will make up to give me that solution. So A times B is 24, but A plus B is 10. A times B is 24, but A plus B is 10. If I add A and B, I should get 10. But if I multiply A and B, I should get 24. I know Lakshita had come to my grade 11 class, you know. So I'm going back to Anaha too. Anaha, can you think about two numbers A and B such that A times B is 24, but A plus B is 10? Thinking? Anaha? Can you think about two numbers such that A times B is 24, A plus B is 10?
It's 6 and 4.
You got it, sir. Yes, 6 and 4. That's right. A is 6, B is 4 will do the job, right? You guys got that? All right. So I'm going to go in Anaha. Are you following that? Anaha? All right.
Yeah.
So, okay. So the question here is, how do I get that quick? I know it took a while, right? One thing, you're good with numbers. You know, when you're looking at a 24, you just see that, right? The other way is, let's write 24 as a product of two numbers. So we will start from 1. Can I write 24 is 1 times 24? Yes. Can I get 10 out of it? No. Then go back to 2. Can I write 2 times 12? Absolutely. Can I get 10 out of it? I can get 10 out of it. I can get 12 minus 2 is 10. But here's the problem. If I do that, I need to time 12 times minus 2. I will get negative 24, but I need positive 24, isn't it? So therefore, that doesn't work. Then I'm going to go back to 3 times 8. Won't work. 4 times 6. You check the check mark, isn't it? Okay, let's do another puzzle on this. Product. All right, so this is going to be a little interesting. So this time, I'm going to going back to my online folks. So Lakshita, you can look at it. Anaha, can you tell me A and B such that A times B is positive 27, A plus B is negative 12.
Is it -3 and -9?
Yes, you're right. All right, next time is not for you. That's right, -3 times -9. Because a -9, -3 is going to be -12. -9 times -3 is going to be positive 27, isn't it? All right, so now it's not your turn. So Diana has turn. All right. Just want to get some interesting number. All right. All right, Anaha. Product is -35, sum is 2. Anaha. Product is -35, sum is 2. You guys can think, take a piece of paper to play around with that. You don't need to do mental math. I'm not teaching UCMass. All right, pen and paper. And then you need some good pens. You can ask me some good pens. Anaha.
7 multiply -5.
Yes, you got it. 7 multiplied by -5. You nailed it, lady. That's it. And 7 plus -5 is going to be +2, isn't it? All right, did you guys got that rule? What we want to do? All right, now let's go back to the question. So we're gonna going back to simply factor the following. We're gonna see how to factor simple trinomial. So answer the riddle. I already did the riddle, so I'm not gonna go back to the riddle. So we're gonna move back to see how we can able to factor. So first thing, you see x squared minus 5x plus 6, isn't it? Now we're gonna take the 6. So let's go back to Aaron. Give me two numbers, A and B, such that A times B is 6. A times B is 6. So I'm gonna write that here. A times B is 6 ups. I'll show you shortcut later. I want A times B is 6, but A plus B is minus 5. You got it, sir. Yes, -2 times -3, right? Now, I'm going to show you the real step, which you have to show. Then I'm going to show you a box method, which make the life easy. So I need to write it down. This on the side, there's no space. So we're going to go back to write that here. So what the question is, again, I can move down. So my question here is x squared minus 5x plus 6. So I'm going to write the step. So what we're going to do, we know we can break it into x squared minus 2x minus 3x plus 6, isn't it? So you might need to copy down there or copy down on your notebook so that you have the reference. And then you guys can copy down on the Jamboard. It's posted there if you want to take the notes like that or on your notebook. Then what we're going to do, we are going to be take the first two terms and the last two terms. We're going to be find a common factor, isn't it? So Aaron, tell me for x squared and minus 2x, what is the common factor?
Common factor?
Yeah.
X.
Just x, that's right. So if I took x out, it's going to be x minus 2. Now we have to be really careful. You have a minus 3x. We don't really like the minus in front of the number. We put minus 3 as a common factor. It's x minus 2, isn't it? Now we have seen this last class, common factor. So this is going to be x minus 2 times x minus 3. Are you following that? All right. Now what we're going to do, we're going to put shortcut. So I'm going to show the shortcut here. Shortcut. So this is called a cross method. This is called a cross method. So we are working with simple trinomial. So what does that simple trinomial mean? In front of x squared, we only got 1. Okay, so if that's the case, this is the plan. You write x here, you write x here. You write x here, you write x here. Now, you're gonna write the factors. So let's going back to write the factor. So I'm gonna write the factor 2 and 3. I just write the factors in 2 and 3. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna do two things. We're gonna multiply these two to see if I can get the 6. Yes, I do get a 6, isn't it? But we're gonna cross multiply here and then add the terms together to see if I can minus 5x. So 3x plus 2x, what I got? 5x, isn't it? But what I want positive negative 5x, isn't it? So that does not really give me the solution because if I cross it and simplify, I got 5x, I need minus 5. Then I'm gonna ask myself, so how do I get the minus 5x? Let's put minus, right? So now it's minus 3x minus 2x minus 3x minus 2x, which is negative 5x, right? And we also know minus 2 times minus 3. 1 second. All right, so you guys got that? So minus 5x. So if we got that part, all we're gonna do is, sir, we're gonna take the row as a factor, x minus 2, x minus 3. Do you see that? So this is a shortcut method. It's perfectly fine. You can use the shortcut method at school, but you need to master the shortcut method because there are time shortcut method can throw you off. So I will always do that the longer way, right? I'll keep the shortcut to check my answer, right? But mostly on the beginning of the factoring quiz, you might need to show all the steps. But after that, the teacher prefer the shortcut method. That's fine. So that's being said, we're gonna go back to the shortcut method to answer the question. So let's do this. Let's do cross it. We're gonna do B. Are you guys ready? We write X and X. No question on that. Now we need to find two numbers such that when we multiply, we got -6. But when I combine, I should get -X, isn't it? Okay, so let's go back to Anaheim. Anaheim, what two numbers give me if I multiply with -6 and combine to get -1? Anaheim, what two numbers combine to get a -6? Anaheim,
Yeah.
what two numbers combined will give you -6? And then add together give you -1.
-6
-6 and
multiply.
-6 multiplied by
Wait, no. -3 multiplied by 2.
you got it. -3 and 2, right? -3 times 2 is -6. -3 plus 2 is -1. So we put -3 here, and then we're gonna 2 here. So what's the final answer? X minus 3 times X plus 2. Is everyone seen that? You guys got that technique? Yes? All right, so now it's not my time. I want you guys to do C, D, and E. And then you guys are going to do on the Jamboard C, D, and E. So C, D, and E on the Jamboard. And Alakshita, can you access the Jamboard?
Yeah.
Anna, are you working on that? Anna? Got the C done? See? Let's see what you get.
So it has to add
This
this
out of 7, yes, and then multiply to get 6. Add up to -7, multiply to get +6. Right? So the best way to go, always, you got 6, isn't it? So what you will do, you will write 6 as a factors of different numbers. 1 times 6, 2 times 3, isn't it? Then you can ask yourself, by combining it 2 and 3, is it possible to get 7? There's no way you can get 1 and 6. Can I combine to get 7? Yes, but what kind of 7 I want? -7. Then only way you can get it like that, isn't it? But if you multiply this and you get positive, might need to write that as the factors to see it. All right, Anna, I'm not sure what you're doing it. I didn't see that you're writing it, so let's go back to Lakshida's work. Actually, I'm not sure, sir. It's the x squared plus 7x plus 6, C. Where did you get minus 7x? Did you copy it incorrect? C. C has plus 7x on the
Pardon?
handout, right? Okay. Okay, Lakshita, you're on the right track. Just waiting for these guys. Anaha, are you wakey? What's up, lady? Fall asleep? Or D? Where do you get +1 from? Lakshita. You got -3 and -2. How did you get 1 and -6?
Oh, I forgot to update it.
So that was not right? It won't work. Okay. All right, sir. How's it going? Are you on D?
I'm looking at
You done the D? Okay, let's see how to get the D. You write the final answer. Yes, so that's what you get for D. So then you need +6 D, but there's a problem. D need a +6, right? So you multiply -2, -3, +6, but we want -6. See that? So how do we fix it? Because I know when you combine that, you got -5, but you have a problem when you multiply, you get a +6, right? So 6 times -1 is -6.
Yeah.
Or -6 times +1 is -6. -6 plus 1 is -6 plus 1 is
it's fine.
-6 plus 1 is -6 plus 1. It's not positive, negative, it's -5, isn't it? -6 plus 1 is -5. So what are the two factors we're looking for? That's fine. You see that? Okay. So sometimes it's just a little tricky, but cross method. So let's point back to the cross method. You get in the right track. So if I go back to the cross method, I want a 6. So I'm looking at a 6 and 1 will do the job. So x and x. So I'm going to put x plus 6 times x plus 1, isn't it? Are you following that? Right. All right. Now this one, I want a -6. So I'm going to ask myself, okay, how do I get my -6? Oh, so absolutely x and x. I want -6 and -5. Well, 2 and 3 will look like work, but I can't really get the 2 and 3, -6 and -5. So 6 and 1. So I want -6 and -5. So we're going to put -6 and +1. So x minus 6 times x plus 1, isn't it? Okay. So I'm not going to go and back to the other one, same idea, but I want to show you a little different one this time. So we're going to do the Q. So if you look at the Q, the only difference on Q is there's a y sitting here, isn't it? Don't worry about the y. Just forget the y. Forget this y squared and forget the y squared and forget the y. So imagine the same question is going to be x squared minus 6x plus 8. Think about that. Somebody joining the Zoom meeting? Oh, somebody left. Akshay, are you here? All right. She has been kicked out. So now, how do I get the 8 and 6? What numbers will work out to get 8 and 6? So I know it's going to be x and x. That's what I can do. So what should I get for 8 and 6? I want product to be 8, the sum to be -6. What two numbers will work? Product to be 8, sum to be -6.
Two.
That's it, right? So all I'm going to do, right, when I write it, I'm going to write, because there's a y there, isn't it? So because there's a y there, when I write it, all I'm going to do, x minus 2y and x minus 4y. I will put the y in here. That's it, right? When you get the additional term. All right, so can you do Q? Hi, Anna. Are you really exist? There's only one class. Next week onward, I'm gonna give the class for you in the morning. So you won't fall asleep.
Okay.
Okay, so what do you think is that? So forget that variable, one second variable, right? So when you forget the second variable, this is going to be y squared minus 6y minus 7, isn't it? So you want to get -7 and then follow -6, isn't it? So which number will work? So we want product to be -7. -7 and +1. Yes, you got it. -7 and +1. X. And we put right here. That's it. X minus 7y and x plus y. That's it. Right? All right. So this is pretty straightforward. So you guys got it. There are a lot of questions there. You can practice it. When you know factoring, you got 50% in math until grade 12. If you know how to do factoring fast enough, 50% of the math problem is solved. So when the school starts, I teach 2 grade 12 advanced function classes. You know what I get first day? This is what I get for review. And then during the valedictorian speech, one of the kids they call me Mr. Jake at school. I'm expecting Mr. Jake's first class in advanced functions should be fine and introduce yourself. But instead of that, he gave a factoring question us to do. And then, yeah, we do that. We just review the factoring and then kids come to the class without knowing factoring. And then you will see why factoring is important down the street. All right. So I believe that you should be comfortable here. Now we're going to going back to more simple trinomial. So what's wrong with these questions here is, in front of x squared, you got some number, isn't it? Okay. But what is the first step in factoring, Anna? Anna, what is the first step in factoring, Anna? Should I ask your dad? Like texting him? Hello? Lakshita is gone. Well, that's why I'm recording it, so this guys at least can watch it. Anna? All right. So what is the first step in factoring? Find the greatest common factor, that's right. So what's the greatest common factor for the numbers? 2. We pull the 2 out. Now we're gonna get x squared plus 5x plus 6, isn't it? Can we factor the guy inside using the technique we have learned? Because in front of x squared you got 1. So we need a cross to get a 6, isn't it? 2 and 3 will work, isn't it? Because on sum supposed to be 5. So that's, I'm gonna be right on the top. 2 times x plus 2 times x plus 3. Makes sense? Right? Like follow that? Okay, so if you get that idea, you're gonna do B for me. First, pull the greatest common factor out, then factor. Anna, how are you working?
Hi.
Are you following the lesson and working?
Yeah.
Okay. How was your Sri Lankan trip so far?
It's fine.
Not get bored yet?
Yeah.
But I'm not seeing that you're writing anything there. It's the internet. You guys wasting internet on watching TikTok,
I don't have TikTok.
YouTube.
Well, yeah, I have YouTube.
Okay. Your dad was telling that how you're wasting your 40 gigabytes in 2 days.
I think that's from your class.
Okay. My class is taking too much of internet. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just waiting for you to write something, lady. We are looking at the question B. So what is the
Can
greatest
I
common
write
factor?
them in my notebook?
Sure. So what is the greatest common factor, sir?
3.
Yeah, so when you pull the 3 out, what's gonna happen? X squared minus 11x plus 324, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right. So we want 24, so box, isn't it? So x, you want 24, and then negative 11. So what 2 numbers will give you that? You can go from the step by step by listing all the factors of 24 until you find that. So start from 1 times 24, 2 times 12, like that. And you will eventually see when you're doing that, 2 numbers will give you the 11.
3.
Yes, that's right, 3 and 8. But we want negative 11x. So this should be negative 3 and negative 8. So we put negative 3 and negative 8 will work out. So that is going to be 3 times x minus 3 times x minus 8. Makes sense? All right. Now, your teacher like to have fun further. So C, I'm not going to say what to do C, but here's the hint. If you find a greatest common factor, then it's going to be something we have seen. So do we have a greatest common factor as a number? No. How about letter? So can you complete that? And you can do it online, but the only problem is I don't know how you're doing it. When you're doing a notebook, right? All right, so let's see. How did you do that, sir? Yep, that's right. Okay, cool. So now we're gonna move back to the next part. So you guys get the idea, but your teachers like to give some difficult questions. So the one that I want to talk about it. So this is it's easy. You can do the greatest common factor. You can do greatest common factor. Some of them you need to take a letter and the number, right? And then this is a greatest common factor. I don't have no problem with that. Greatest common factor, no problem with that. I don't have no problem with that. But I'm going to show you something little tricky. So this guy. So x to the power of 6 minus 6x cubed plus 5. First of all, do we have any greatest common factor? No. Then what we're going to do? Would you learn how to factor it? No. We never learned this one yet, isn't it? So sometime we need to look out for, can we able to do some magic? So here's what we're going to do. So let the x cubed to be a. So I'm going to say let x cubed is a. So if x cubed is a, can I say x to the power of 6 using the exponent rule, x cubed whole thing squared? Because x cubed to the power of 2 is x to the power of 6. But I say x cubed is equal to a, isn't it? So this is going to be a squared, isn't it? So can I rewrite that question? X to the power of 6 is a squared minus 6x cubed is going to be 6a plus 5. Can I rewrite that? Are you seeing that picture? Now, do we know how to factor that? A squared minus 6a plus 5. It's just something that we have seen, right? You do the box. You need 5 and 6, right? Minus 1, minus 5. So minus 1, minus 5. So that is going to be a minus 1 times a minus 5. Now, we cannot really write the answer like that because the question is not in a. The question is in x, isn't it? So all we're going to do, we're going to going back to substitute for a. What is our a is? X cubed, right? So what we're going to do, we're going to go back x cubed minus 1 times x cubed minus 5. Anaka, are you following that question? Hello?
Yeah.
All right. So if you guys got that, you're gonna do the L, and then I'm gonna give you the substitution. Let the x squared to be a. So can you do that substitution and see if you can figure out? X squared is equal to a. Do the L, then we can move on to the next type of factoring. That's the last question, I believe. KL, x to the power of 4 minus 29 x squared minus 96. You're going to put x squared is equal to a. So it's going to be same setup. One second. All right, you done? The numbers are not working out. So problem with the 96 and 29.
32.
You got it, sir. 32 and 3. Boom. Right? And then one of them must be negative, the other one's supposed to be positive, isn't it? Because you want negative 29. So always the larger number will be negative in that case. Okay, you got it. All right, so can you complete that? Anaka, are you done with that question? Can you tell me the final answer you got? Anaheim. So what did you get as a final answer?
Bracket X power 4 minus 32.
Are you sure it's to the power of 4? Because,
No, that's the power of 2.
yes, x squared, yeah.
And then the other one is
X squared minus 32, yeah. And that
X to the power of 4 plus 3.
x to the power 4 again. Shouldn't be x squared plus 3, isn't it? Does that make sense?
X squared.
It must be both x squared, because when you put x squared is equal to a, you will get this one, a squared minus 29a minus 36, isn't it? Are you following that? 29a minus 36, right? Then when we factor it, you got a minus 32 into a plus 3, isn't it? But what is our a is? A is x squared, right? So x squared minus 32 and x squared plus 4. I know, are you following that?
Yeah.
Hello? Okay. All right, so now we're gonna moving back to a little challenge. So your teacher like to give something like this. So how would you do that? You guys can tell me the idea. Your teaching asked to factor this. Then how would you do this? So substitution, same as what we did, because the x minus y is a troublemaker, isn't it? So you can say let x minus y to be again a. And then you got is a squared minus a minus 12. Right?
Yeah.
Same idea here. Let a plus b is equal to some x this time. So x squared plus 7x plus 12. And then you factor with this a and b, and then you're going to put that x, a. You're going to replace the a. All right. Now we're going to going back to complex trinomial. So you got a homework sheet from me too. Did I give a homework sheet in the lesson package? For this lesson, it should be attached to it. There should be a homework attached to it. Okay, so you guys gonna do lesson 5 homework. Lesson 5. Do you have it?
I think it's just separate, but it doesn't say that's the
Yeah, these are the homework. Yes, yeah. Okay. But you're not doing the homework right now, so we're gonna move back to the next part. It's is that the home? Oh, I'm just doing a homework handout. Why I'm doing this? It's supposed to teach you this, and then went back there on my handout. All right. Anyhow, you learned the lesson. You know what to do. I was like, why there's so many questions there? Okay. All right, so we're gonna moving back to the lesson 5. Where we are? Lesson 5, factoring a complex trinomial. So this is what I'm supposed to teach you. So don't you have that lesson? It's in lesson. No, from this. So expanding and simplifying. This lesson. numbers right now. All right. So we're gonna going back to see how to factor the same idea, pretty straightforward. So let's going back, guess, using a guess and check. Don't make a random guess, but logically work through the process. So what they try to do is right now, they asked to factor this expression 3x squared plus 5x plus 2. So what is the difference between what we have done is that what is this is, in front of x squared, you got a different number, no more 1. And also there's no greatest common factor yet, because 3 and 5 and 2, there's no greatest common factor. So we can factor it using guess and check. That's basically what they're doing is guess and check. So what the guess and check is basically, when I multiply 3 times x, I should get 3x. So what number should go to get me a product of 2? So the only way I can get a product of 2 is if I got 1 and 2, isn't it? If I got 1 and 2, only I can able to get the last term to be 2, isn't it? This is just a guess and check, right? So going back to some simple example. So if you guys got that, can you tell me what number should go here to complete this? So here, 5x squared plus 16x plus 3. What should I put inside a bracket? Because 5x and x because of 5x squared. Now think about a constant term, please. What two numbers multiply, I can get 3? What two numbers can multiply to get 3?
3 and 1.
That's it. Just gonna make 3 plus 1. And then we can make sure it makes sense. We can multiply 5x times x is 5x squared. Then 5 times x is 5x plus 3x. Something is not quite working out because can you find the factors? Because if we do that, we have a problem. You can see here 5x times. So we need 16x. Oh, no, never mind. Never mind. So what I'm doing here, 5x. Oh yes, if I do that, if I do 3 plus 1 here, let's see what's going to happen. 5 times x is 5x squared, isn't it? But let's multiply this. 5 times x is 5x. 3 times x is 3x. 5x plus 3x is going to be 8x. What I really want, I need 16x, isn't it? So we know we need to get 3 and 1, but we have a problem. If I put 1 and 3 here, it doesn't work. But how about 1 and 3 here? Let's do that. 5 times x is 5x squared. 5 times 3 is 15x. 1 times x is positive x. Did I get the 16x? 15x plus 1x? Okay. So if using a try and catch, can you complete the other two first so that it should work out? And then we're gonna see that what the technique behind it. Anaher, are you alive?
Yeah, hi.
Okay. Can you tell me what two numbers should I put for the second one? All right, so what numbers play around Anaher for the second one? What did you put inside the bracket, Anaher?
I put nothing.
You put nothing, okay? That is also correct. Yes. What do you put, sir, for the second one?
I put 1 for the first one, and then 2 for the.
But we have a problem. We need negative 5x in the middle. So there's no way I can get any negative number because all the terms are positive. Right? But you're right. You should get that 1 and 2. That's the only way you can get it. But if you want minus 5x, then I definitely need minus 1 and minus 2, isn't it? Because minus 1 times minus 2 is positive 2. So let's do the math. 3x times minus 2 is minus 6x. And then minus x. That's a problem. I'm going to get negative 7x, isn't it? So what we do, we switch that. We switch that 1 and 2 in a different place. We can do minus 2 and minus 1. So now let's do the math. 3 times x is 3x squared, isn't it? 3x times minus 1 is negative 3x. Minus 2 times x is minus 2x, right? And did I get a minus 5x? Yes, I do. And minus 2 times minus 1, plus 2, isn't it? Did you get the last one?
I got 1, then -2.
You got 1 and, so let's see, the 7 correct. Negative 20 plus 1, I'm gonna get negative 21 plus 1, I'm gonna get negative 20, but I need positive 20, isn't it? So all we need to do is we need to change this. So how are we gonna change it? You're right. We're gonna make the positive 3 here, and then we're gonna put negative 1 here. So let's see the math. 7 times 3x, 7x squared. So, I mean, 7 times x is 7x squared, isn't it? 7 times 3 is 21x. Minus 1 times x, minus x, which is going to be 20x, isn't it? Are you following that? Okay. So this is just to see the trial and error, but that's not what we're going to. We're going to see systematically how we can factor. So here's what we're going to do. A decomposition method. But the decomposition method is basically asking, another option to decomposition method, break an expression into parts. How can we factor 3x squared plus 7x plus 6? So what we're going to do, 2 numbers multiply to get 9 and add to 11. So we need to break the middle term into the sum of 2 terms. So the middle term is always 11x, isn't it? So we want the middle term, 2 numbers, right, added together 11. But when we multiply the 2 terms, I should get the product of 3 and 6. So what is product of 3 and 6? 18, isn't it? So all we want at this time is, this is basically ax squared plus bx plus c form, because a is normal 1. We don't have in front of x squared 1, right? All we're going to do, we're going to be break a times c into 2 numbers. I don't know the 2 numbers. Let's say m and n. So m times n is a times c. M plus n supposed to be b. Did you guys see that? It's the same technique, except you're going to multiply by a times c, rather than just only looking at a c. So we see that several options possible, and then they find out which one will work out. So you can see 9 times 2 give 18, and 9 plus 2 give 11, isn't it? So we're going to do that for some practice. So let's go back to the first one. So a is 2, isn't it? C is minus 6. So what is 8 times c is 2 times minus 6. What would I get? Negative 12. Now I need 2 numbers so that I will get a product of negative 12. But when I combine them, I need to get 1, because in front of x you got 1, isn't it? So anyhow, what 2 numbers multiply to get negative 12 and then combine together positive 1? Anyhow, what 2 numbers multiply to get minus 12, and when you combine, will give positive 1. Okay, you still thinking. Okay, I'm going to go back to you, sir. What 2 numbers multiply to get minus 12, and then combine to get positive 1? So what do? We take the 12 and write the factors, isn't it? 1 times 12. I can't really get 1 out of it. 2 times 6. Do you think I can get 1 out of it? No, 3 times 4. Why? If I do 3, yes, now we need to ask, we need positive 1, isn't it? So 4x minus 3x. 4 times minus 3, negative 12. So then we're going to rewrite it 2x squared plus 3x, plus 4x minus 3x minus 6, isn't it? Then what we're going to do, we're going to find the common factor for the 2x and 4x, which is 2x, isn't it? So we get x plus 2. Well, for these two, the common factor is negative 3. We're going to get x plus 2, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now we see this one today on the homework question, x plus 2 in both places, right? So what do you do, x plus 2 times 2x minus 3, isn't it? So you get that logic, Aaron? Okay, so then I want you to do B and C. We will see how to work with the D. And I have B and C. Okay, I go back. Alright, how's that going, sir?
Step on B.
You check on B. So what numbers on B? You got a 10 time, okay, you got, all right, so you're almost there. So you're good, so you wrote it correctly. 10a squared plus 5a minus 2a. The only thing is you just missed the minus 1.
That's it.
That's correct, this is all correct. So you're on the right track. The only thing is, everything is right. So you're gonna go back to rewrite this 10a squared. And you write 5a, which is correct, minus 2a, which is positive 3a. But you need to write the minus 1, right? Because 10 times minus 1 minus 10, 5 times minus 2 minus 10, so now we're going to common factor 5a. So it's going to be 2a plus 1. Now minus 1 is a common factor, 2a plus 1. Right?
Yeah.
And then you know that 2a plus 1 is sitting in both places. Makes sense? All right. Anna, did you go to sleep?
No.
No? Okay. Well, she's joining from Sri Lanka, and the time in Sri Lanka right now, 1:30 a.m. Okay. The other student, I think that at the internet, that she dropped in and she. So let's point back down. I'm not sure whether you're following that. So the first step, we're going to multiply the 10 and minus 1. We got minus 10. So we need to find a way. How can we get 3 in the middle with a minus 10? Can you tell me two numbers? Multiply to get minus 10 and then combine together 3. And two numbers, multiply to get minus 10, combine to get 3. So what do? We forget the sign in front of
Is it
10.
wait,
Sorry, what do you say? What number?
5 multiply negative 2?
Yes, that's right. 5 multiplied by negative 2. That's right. We'll give you negative 10 and 3a. So then what we're going to do, we're going to simply break in this plus 5a minus 2a minus 1. And then we're going to find a common factor for these two, obviously 5a. So that is going to be 2a plus 1. So now this is a little tricky. What is the common factor for these two terms? Actually negative 1. So 2a plus 1. So this is going to be 2a plus 1 times 5a minus 1 because this is the common factor. Are you following that? Anna?
Yeah.
Okay, do you do the C, sir? Okay, so work on C. Anna, you're going to tell me the final answer for C? So just see on the notebook. All right, so what did you get the final answer?
3 plus 1.
3x plus 1. 3x plus 1, yeah.
And then 1
Just we can say x
plus 1.
x plus 1. So let's see, there's a problem. Because if you multiply 3x times x, you only got 3x squared, but I need 6x squared.
2x plus
2x plus 1 will work. Let's see that's worked. 3x plus 2x. Yes, that's right. So what happened to that 2 in the beginning?
no, I got the 2, but I think
Okay, so do you understand the process?
I understand up until the last step.
Okay, so let's redo that again. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna multiply 8 times c, right? So 6 times 1 is 6. So we need to break the 6 into 5, 2, and 3. So what we're gonna do, so we will write the full step here. So the full step is going to be 6x squared plus 3x plus 2x plus 1, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Now we're gonna going back to find the least common multiple for 6x and 6x squared and 3x, which is going to be 3x, isn't it? Make sense? So that's gonna be x plus 2. No, x plus 1, not x plus 2, x plus 1. Plus, for these two, the common factor is 1, isn't it? Have you seen that? Right? When you don't have a common factor, we put 1 as a common factor. So now we got 2x, 2x plus 1, and we got 3x plus 1. Make sense?
Yeah.
Work out? Okay. So now the last question, what we're gonna do? Well, as I say in the last question, all we need to do is, we need to be, simply take the additional variable out. So you got 6x minus 51xy plus 27xy squared. So what is the first step in any factoring? What is greatest common factor? So what is the greatest common factor and a half for those 3 terms? And a half? Yes, 3, yes, 3 will work, but we're gonna put minus, well, we put 3 out. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna rearrange this equation because I don't like the terms like that. So I'm gonna do a little rearrangement. Minus 6x, and 3 is the greatest common factor, but don't you see the x also the greatest common factor, sir? You can take x, so let's pull x out. So what do you got? 9y squared minus, this is gonna be 3 times 1 is 21, 17, y, and then minus 2, isn't it? Make sense? Okay, can you use the technique to factor this? Let's see. Use the technique to factor that out. 9y squared minus 17y minus 2. Are you following that step, second step? Okay, now 9 times 2 is minus 18. You need to break the minus 18 to get minus 17, right? Okay, can you do that? It's look like Anaheim, you went to sleep or you're doing the work.
I'm doing the work.
Okay. So how would you share? Is your WhatsApp working? Or your dad didn't give you the connection to WhatsApp in Sri Lanka?
Did I get to tell you my phone's broken?
Your phone's broken? Who broke
Yeah.
that in Sri Lanka? Where did you take it
Me.
and who break it?
So I took it to a beach and then a big wave went on it. So
You took it to the beach and then you went with the phone inside the beach?
yeah,
Okay, you're very smart on that.
I know. I was hoping to get a good photo.
Okay, I'll tell you that. Don't buy a new one.
But I
Alright.
told him already. Because this happened when he was here.
Cool. All right, what did you get for that answer? You think, sir? You didn't get the break? So 9 times 2 is negative 18, isn't it? Like if you multiply 9 and 2, you got negative 18, right?
Yeah.
So we want 17. The only way we can break it, 1 times 18 is 18. So minus 18 plus 1 is negative 17. Can you write that? So the way minus 18 minus 17y plus y will work it. So we will write it 3x 9y squared minus 18y plus y minus 2, isn't it? So can you give a shot? Can you give a shot? Stuck? Done? So you got this part, right? So far so good?
Yeah.
What's the common factor? 9y, isn't it? So I got y minus 2. 10 plus 1. You don't have one, always 1. Or if you couldn't find it, just you can pull 1. All right. All right. So you got the technique. You need more practice. That's it. So we're gonna going back to something called perfect square trinomial. But before we go in, can you expand that a and b for me? X plus 3 whole thing squared and 2x minus 4 whole thing squared. It should be less than 6. It's, you find it? Okay. What's up? You got to expand it? Okay, what do we got?
X squared.
Yep. You're missing the middle term. So
Oh,
we talked about this last class. This is x plus 3 times x plus 3, right? So we multiply x times x squared, then x times 3x, another 3 times x, 3x, 3 times 3, 9, isn't it? Are you following that? Right? So can you make sure without making a mistake, expand the second one b? I rewrite that 2x minus 4 times 2x minus 4. Then we multiply, it's called something you have done in grade 9, FOIL. So what we're doing is here, so when you write x plus 3 times x plus 3, so let's rewrite that. So I rewrite that as x plus 3 times x plus 3, right? Because that is what that means, x plus 3 whole thing squared. Then we multiply this term by this term, first term by first term. We got x squared, right? Then I did this first term by the last term there, which is 3x, right? Then I take second term here, this is the middle term. So these two terms are multiplied together, which is 3x. And then we multiply this 3x by 3 by 3, which is 9. So we call this process called FOIL. So why it's called FOIL? You multiply the first term with the first term with the outer term, because that this 3 is outer term. Then inner term, these two are inner term. The last step is the last terms, right? Then we collect the likely terms. So obviously, you can only collect one of the likely term, right? So there's a shortcut you can see. What the shortcut is basically says to expand it. It's if you have an a plus b whole thing squared, the expansion works this way. They say square the first term, so a squared, multiply 2 times, a times b, right? So 2 times ab, and then square the last term. See that? Make sense? All right. So if that's the case, and then if the middle sign is minus, the minus comes, all right? The middle term will be, if the middle sign is minus, there's a minus in the middle term. So can you use the shortcut to expand the b to x? Did you copy it? All good? You can give a shot at 2x minus 4. And so what did you get?
4x squared
You got that right? Yes.
minus 16x
That's right.
minus 16
Plus 16, sir.
plus
The last term is always positive, right? So what we're going to observe it, this is already in factored form. It is already in factored form. Now, this factored form, it just says something squared. Did you see that as whole thing squared? The question here is, why do we get whole thing squared when we factor a trinomial? This is the trinomial, isn't it? And this is also trinomial. Do you see that? When we factor that, we got x plus 3 whole thing squared, not x plus 3 times something. It's x plus 3 whole thing squared. But the question is, why does that happen? We're going to observe it. So how do you recognize a perfect square trinomial? So let's going back to looking at the steps. First step, the first term coefficient is a perfect square. So if you look at the first example, this one, the coefficient of in front of x is 1, isn't it? Can we be able to find square root of 1 without having a decimal number? Absolutely, yes. And then look at this second example. The coefficient of x squared is 4. What is square root of 4? Which is 2. So we can find the square root for the first term. The last term is also perfect square. So let's look at the last term. So this one last term is 9. So can we find the square root of 9? Yes. The last term is 16. Can you find the square root of 16? Yes. So we confirm first term we can get the square root, second term we got the square root. The middle term is twice the square root of the first and last term. So let's going back here. If you multiply 1 times 3, what did you get? 3. 3 times 2 is 6. Do we got 16? Okay, now let's do this. 4 times 2 is 8 times 2 is
16.
do we got the middle term? So if these three satisfy, then that trinomial is a perfect square. So let's do that simple example. So in front of x squared, I got 1, isn't it? So we can find the square root of 1 with just 1. And then find that last term is 25. Can you find the square root of 25? Yes. Now what is 1 times 5 times it by 2? I get 10. Do we have 10 in the middle? So that's a perfect square. So how to write a perfect square? Pretty straightforward. Square root of this one times it by x, in this case x, plus square root of the last term, all things squared. Right, so let's do this. What is square root of 4?
2.
What is square root of 36?
6.
4. What is 2 times 6 times 2? 2 times 6 is 12. 12 times 2 is 24, isn't it? But do you have 24 in the middle? No. So this is the perfect square? No. Right? So the middle term 24 is not equal to 2 times 6, isn't it? Because that's the condition. All right. So we're going to see how we can do a perfect square trinomial fact, right? Almost done. So here's the picture. If you understand factoring, this particular factoring, this lasts for another 2 lessons. But all you need to know for those 2 lessons, how to do factoring. So in grade 9, if your teacher, you just use a textbook. I don't think they use a textbook in grade 9, but in grade 10, your teacher might use a textbook. In the textbook, it's called chapter 4, 5, and 6. It's about quadratic. So start from factoring, quadratic relations, and then solving quadratic equations. But when somebody knows factoring, it took me 1 day to teach the quadratic equation. It's simple as it is. So I'm almost going to done the factoring. All right, so moving forward to see, we want to see how to factor. So let's just basically say how to factor. Check the trinomial is perfect square trinomial. So how do we check it? What is square root of 16? What is square root of 25? What is 2 times 4 times 5? 2 times 4 times 5. So multiply the square root and 40, isn't it? So this is a perfect square trinomial. So how do we write that answer for the final part? So square root of the first term, which we have done, square root of 16 is, which is 4. Square root of the last term, which we have done, 5. So find the first and last term separated by the sign. So the sign is going to be minus, right? So square root of the first term is 4b minus 5, all things squared. You see how easy it is to write? Because the middle sign is negative, we put negative. The middle sign is positive, we put positive. All right. So you got some questions to practice. Can you factor all of them, sir? A, B, and C using the technique? First, you're going to check is a perfect square trinomial, then you're going to do the technique to factor. What's up? You get the first one?
Yeah.
What do you got?
2x minus b squared.
That's it. Boom. Okay,
3x minus 4 squared.
that's right, sir.
9ab squared.
Okay. So how come your brother didn't choose computer science? He never took any coding courses like grade 11, 12 computer science.
I think he took a couple.
Okay,
I mean,
and then he didn't find that fascinating.
it's not.
Okay. I started in my teaching in public school in 2017. So I taught in a TDSP school called SATEC W.A. Porter. It's a specialized tech program. So kids need to write an admission test to get in. So that year I taught a group of grade 10 students. So they didn't really have a good computer science. Well, they have a computer science teacher, but they didn't find that the teacher is going extra to teach them. And then they taught some old language. So I was there, and then I changed the language to Java, and then everyone loved it. So that's the first year I taught it. So these guys are a group of boys that they kind of get into like computer science and then computer engineering. So I left the school. So good amount of them end up in going to Waterloo computer engineering program, or computer science, actually computer engineering or computer science. And then a couple of them end up in going to University of Toronto. So they all finished both years. So one of the kid, he on the third year, he got to work in Intel. So he worked for 1 year in Intel. The second year, he got to work in Google. He got an internship. So yesterday, I saw him on LinkedIn. He's hired full-time by Google as a software engineer. So, and the whole group I taught, well, I only taught in grade 10, and then those that went to Waterloo, they did pretty well. They ended up working, their co-op with big companies like Amazon, AMD. So I don't know what the update is, but this guy, so so when he was, I mean, I was teaching grade 10 computer science. So he's smart, but I don't like to give 100% for anyone. Unless you demonstrated that solid, no mistake in every single time, right? So his final marks is 98 or 99%. So there's a one particular question you can logically argue correct and incorrect, right? So he chose that one version of it, but my answer was another version. So he came back and said, nope, this is how it's supposed to be. The rest of the kids came back and then say, hey, Mr. Jack, you don't really want him to get 100, right? That's why you don't want to get that answer, right? All right, anyhow, so last one, what did you get?
X plus 5 squared.
All right, so you get that part, pretty straightforward. So we're gonna going back to that last, not least, it's pretty easy. There's a one special case, a squared minus b squared. If you see an a squared minus b squared, if you got a minus in the middle, but the two terms have a square, then you can close your eyes to write that a plus b times a minus b. So why? Let's open a bracket. So if I open a bracket, a times a is going to be a squared, right? And a times minus b is minus ab. B times a plus ba. And b times minus b squared. Did you see that when you open what we got? Right? Now minus ab plus ab is gone, same term. So what are you left over with? A squared minus b squared. Now, when you see a question, this time, this is not something squared. You see that 4. But here's what you need to know. If you know only 2 terms, and the middle sign is minus, then it is possible it's falling into this category. So what we're going to do, we're going to make that look like that. I know x squared is perfectly fine, but 4 is not look like something squared. But can I make 4 something squared? Which square? Boom. Now, do we get a squared minus b squared? X, then it's going to be x minus 2 times x plus 2, isn't it? All right. So now you got some interesting questions to work with. So let's do another example. Sometimes this is going to be 4x squared minus 9. So we have a problem. So what the problem is, The 4 is a troublemaker because that's not something squared. But can I make the 4 to something squared? Yes, so 2 squared, x squared. How about 9? Can I make the 9 to something squared? Now we can rewrite this one as 2x whole thing squared, right? Now this is your A, this is your B. 2x minus 3, 2x plus 3. Are you following that? All right, so you got the rest of the question is solved, but you need to know first step in factoring, we need to see greatest common factor. Then only we're going to go back to the technique, right? So you got a variety of questions there. So A, I did it. So let's see if you can do B. Let's see if you can do B. So if something is not squared, ask yourself, can you make that happen? So you got 64 and 81. Ask yourself, if 64 is something squared, 81 is something squared, right? And then if you don't know your timetable, you can always take the square root and then see if you can get a perfect square root, right? Done? Okay, what did you get?
Squared minus
Sorry, what do you got?
8x squared.
8x squared.
8x.
Yeah.
Minus 9yc.
9yc, yeah.
Then 8x plus 9y.
You got that, man? All right. So can you do the rest? And you know what? That's the end of the lesson. And then you have all the type as your homework plus the homework. So do that.
Mr. Nandi, uncle,
Yes.
where's
Let
the
me-
one link note,
Yes.
OneNote link to this
Where's the
lesson?
OneNote? You want OneNote link?
Mm-hmm.
It's in a Google Classroom. So if you go to my Google Classroom and a grade 10 math, I posted on the first day, Mr. Nandi's OneNote link. You just click the link. It should be open up on the other side. Let's see, it should open up. Yes, it is opening up. There's no issues on opening up that link. Where were you? I thought that you just went to sleep.
No,
You were here all the time?
actually, yeah, kind of dozed off.
All right. So if you're going back here, you can access them my handout. Are you following the lesson, lady?
Kind of.
Well, you might need to repeat that again when you come back. I will ask you to
Yeah.
come in both Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, darn.
Perhaps I'll schedule a class and not in 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock. So that means your dad will wake you up not at 7 o'clock. He will wake you up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
I like to torture people.
Thanks.
Not physically. So what was the dinner at Sri Lanka?
Dosa?
Homemade or you guys bought it?
Homemade.
Who making it?
My grandma.
Okay.
Wait, so
I
did you
just-
send the OneNote link so I can review?
I don't send the OneNote link, it's posted in the Google Classroom.
It is?
It's in the Google Classroom, that's why I show you, it's in the Google Classroom, but you didn't check it. Done?
I didn't
All
see
done?
it on my side.
Lady, are you in the Google Classroom?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you go back to the classwork, if you see classwork has several titles, in class practice, homework, and notes and handout, and OneNote link. Didn't you see that something called OneNote link?
Yeah.
And can you open it up?
That's not right, so this is x to the power of 4. You can rewrite it as x squared all x squared minus 3 squared. So it's x squared minus 3 and x squared plus 3. Make sense?
There's no square difference.
Yes.
Than 2.
Exactly, yes, that's right.
Wait, am I free to go now?
No, I'm not done. That's not right. So what's the first step in fact, it's a cube, right? What's the first step in factoring? Base common factor, isn't it? It's that. Because we can factor a as a common factor, right? Then you can do the magic. So does it make sense?
All right, I'm not done yet. So we are almost finished this lesson on factoring. Now, you're gonna do the homework questions. Factoring quadratics, there's a flow chart given. There's a tell when to do, when to factor, right? So you see a lesson 7 with factoring with all the type, good amount of practice. And then there's a little summary of a factoring, and then you got the homework question sheet. That's the handout, the homework handout. The homework handout is also called 18 lesson. There's a plenty of questions for you guys to practice as your homework, right? Plenty of them. So what we will do next class, we will go through all these questions, all the factoring questions, right? Variety of factoring questions. So it's not, I'm not expecting you will get all of them, but most of them you get. So we will do some word problems that's from the textbook, so not there. And then I will begin the next lesson. So what time we are meeting on Thursday is we're gonna meet at 11 o'clock. Right, I'm telling you now, so that these guys will come in for 11 o'clock. So I need to remind them next class is 11.
Is it 6?
The whole
So
book.
5, 6, and 7.
Yeah, so you're gonna do a whole booklet. The factoring, all of the different kinds of factoring is done. So when you finish that, plus do the practice question on the lesson too. This is the homework on the lesson. Ida, you are allowed to leave.
Okay.
All right. And I will see you on Thursday. What time? Sri Lankan time, 8 o'clock.
Yeah.